Hi, I'm Tom and I'm joined by Adam Wakeman today, and we're going to discover how you can master your technique with Kawai ES Series pianos. So Adam, you've been playing piano for a number of years now, so I know a lot of students can develop quite poor technique. So obviously having a good quality stage piano such as the ES Series can really help develop technique. So how can the ES Series help piano players?
I think it's really important that, when I started playing piano, I did a month on the side of a sofa. Didn't have, brilliant machines like this to practice on. My piano teacher had an acoustic piano. So for new students, it's really important that transition between an acoustic piano, for example, and then maybe one of these that you'll practice on at home, the action is really important so that you've got a familiarity between the two. These machines are incredibly realistic, so that transition is much easier with a machine like this.
Fantastic, and obviously it's portable as well, so if you wanted to sort of take it on the go with you and you wanted to learn somewhere else, you can easily move this between different places, can't you?
Absolutely, yeah. If this is what you practice on at home and you want to go and play, I don't know, at your grandparents' house or in a hotel or on a gig, or if you're on tour, you can take it and use it on stage, or you can use it in the dressing room and warm up on it. And you're using the same great piano sound and the action, so it's familiar to you. So that's really important, because if you're switching between lots of different pianos and keyboards, you're never quite getting your technique better, because you're spending too long adjusting to a different keyboard or a different action. So with this, it kind of covers all the bases.
Fantastic, and obviously you've got the pedal unit as well, so it's a fully sort of active pedal rather than a sort of a latch switch, so that will really help as well.
Yeah, it does, because again, it's down to familiarity. If you've got something that feels very much like a real piano, you're one step ahead already. The latch pedals are great if you're playing, if you're switching a Hammond organ, a Leslie switch or something like that. But if you're playing piano, it's really important that you've got that kind of sturdy pedal as well, and it's got the three pedal system as well if you want to sort of get a bit more advanced with your technique.
Fantastic. So it's great to have a really good action and the pedal functionality as well. But I know one of the key things is ultimately how it sounds. So how would this help?
Well, if you're writing, for example, you kind of need to be inspired by the sound. And the piano sounds fantastic, but you've got organ sounds and EP sounds. So having that flexibility just means you're opening up a lot of other kind of avenues for composition and stuff, which is definitely, you want to be inspired when you play. It's not just about how it feels. You need to be inspired by the sound.
Fantastic. So there's a lot of key features there. So let's break it down and have a look at each of the models in turn. We've got the Kawai ES110 in front of us, and this is the entry-level Kawai piano. And I say entry, but there are a lot of premium features packed within here. So do you want to just talk us through a few things that you really like about the piano?
I love the fact it's so light, but that doesn't compromise the piano action, because often the lighter things get, it's kind of taken away from the heaviness, the feel of the keys. That's kind of one of my favourite things. I say it's very light, so you can kind of take it where you're going. If you're going, I'd say, on tour, it's great to have in a dressing room. I can take it to the hotel, and it's not kind of being, breaking my back.
So it's got the sort of 12 kilo weight, so that's really quite handy. So you can just sort of pick it up and under your arm. And I know there's 14 watt speakers in there as well, so that's quite helpful as well for you, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, because you can't, if you are carrying stuff around in hotel rooms and backstage and stuff, you can't, then have to bring an amp and everything else. It's kind of, your luggage is kind of getting bigger and bigger by the day when you're on tour anyway. So this kind of makes it much easier, much more compact, and it sounds great.
And do you want to just talk us through the action as well? Because that's obviously a key feature of any piano.
Yeah, sure. The playability of any instrument is kind of is key to how long you sit in front of it, I find. So if you sit down in front of a piano and it doesn't feel right, then it's not doing its job. It just feels really natural. And it just feels very, very tactile, very sensitive, and it's very responsive, which is what you want, really.
And obviously we've got things like line outs as well, so that's easy for linking into a studio, being on live sets, etc. And obviously there's Bluetooth capability as well, so if you want to sort of hook that up to your music and play along as well, so if you're rehearsing.
Exactly, yeah, the Bluetooth MIDI and the line outs obviously just makes it even more kind of all-encompassing, really. Again, if you're practicing in your house and you want to go around your friends' houses and you can plug into their system, it just makes everything easier.
Being on the road and having a piano so portable, at least it means that you're going to become accustomed to the action. So in terms of the action, how does that really sort of help you master your technique?
Well, I think from when I was a kid, learning to play piano on acoustic pianos, that's pretty much where that technique comes from. It's the kind of the getting used to the weight, and having that then being portable. It means that you're not losing the kind of practice techniques that you started off with when you were sort of beginning. And you keep the strength in your fingers as well. If you're playing, keys that aren't weighted, it really does. Your playing suffers, I find, especially if you're playing a lot of piano. You just lose that strength. So this definitely helps you keep that standard when you're practicing.
Even though this is Kawai's entry-level model, the ES110, it is packed full of features, but there are even more features the further we progress through the series. So let's have a look at the next model. Now we've got the ES520 in front of us. So this is an upgrade from the ES110. So this has got even more features packed in. So how is this going to help you hone your technique even further?
It has a familiar piano-weighted key action. So you're basically playing what you would feel on a grand piano. It has a triple sensor so that if you're repeating notes quickly, it picks that up much more accurately, for example. Which again is kind of makes you feel more like you're playing an actual acoustic grand piano.
So basically it re-triggers a note without the key going all the way to the top to start off with. So as you say, it really helps with that repetition of notes, again, for your technique, won't it?
Exactly, yeah, and that's as you become more of an advanced player, those kind of things are just more important.
And as we mentioned, it does share a lot of similar features with the ES110, such as the pedal unit as well, and having the capability of having the triple pedal unit, so you can develop even further. And we've mentioned that it has Bluetooth on the ES110, so that again can help you play along with your favourite tracks. But one of the nice features I think about this is it does have an even more powerful speaker system, doesn't it?
Well, that's right. And if you're playing again with friends and you need to ramp up the volume and you don't want to have to carry around an amp, this is great. I think it's 40 watts, and yeah, it's plenty loud enough for what you need.
And it's been developed in conjunction with Onkyo, which is a premium sound company, isn't it? So you've got the high quality sampling of the sounds, and it's been recreated by the motherboard in here. So you are really getting that extra level of sound.
I think that's the upgrade, isn't it? It's just that it's taking it that one level further.
And that can really help inspire playing even further, the fact that you have got those high quality sounds to really focus on.
Absolutely, yeah. The more you play it, the more you want to play it. That's what I think.
And another interesting feature is actually having the app. So let's have a look in a bit more detail at the app.
So although you've got the OLED display on here, a quick and easy way of getting around the 520 is with the piano remote app, and you can just swipe through the different piano sounds. If you want to go into a bit more kind of, I don't know, organ sounds, you just switch to that. Or there's EPs, lots of different sounds. It just makes it a much quicker way of getting from sound to sound.
It's a much more visual way, isn't it? So people can actually sort of see the instruments as well on the main pianos as well, so you can actually really see the quality of the instrument you're actually playing at home.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. And if you want to get really in depth and start getting a bit more kind of involved, personalizing your piano or whatever, there's the virtual technician, so you can kind of get involved tuning, changing the reverbs, things like that.
So basically recreate having a technician on your concert grand piano at home, but without having the added expense, and you can really sort of hone in on particular sounds and features that can actually help benefit your playing as well.
Yeah, I think it's what having a little bit more control. You don't have to, obviously, you can just sit down and play the piano, but if you want to get a bit more in depth with it, you've got that capability with the app.
Fantastic. And there are also some other inbuilt features on the app, aren't there, as well? So sort of lesson functions and sort of books and music as well.
Exactly, and you can just scroll through and you can build up a collection of lessons, and just makes it all in one. You've basically got your kind of, as you say, the technician, you've got a kind of a learning capacity. It does everything for you.
So there are a lot of features contained in this ES520, but there's even more with the ES920, which is their flagship model. So let's have a look at that in a bit more detail. This is the ES920, so this is the premium flagship model within the ES series. So it does share a lot of features with the previous models, of course, but there are some key differences. And one of the features that are different are the keys. So can you just explain how the action differs on this model?
Yeah, sure. There's a much closer similarity to a grand piano. So if you've got experience of playing a grand piano, for example, there's like a little ledge when you play the note, which is simulated by this key let-off, which means the feel of it just sounds and feels like you're playing a grand piano. There's counterweights in the end of each key as well, just to make it, more similar to that feel. It's also got a lot more polyphony, 256 note polyphony, I think.
That's it, yes.
I'm not a technical man, but that means you can play a lot more complex pieces and runs, and you don't lose any of the quality.
So none of the notes drop out there. It plays everything that you've played and has that sustain on there with the pedal as well.
Exactly.
And obviously we've talked a bit about the sounds, but you've still got the 40 watts speaker system.
Yep.
But again, there's been further development with Onkyo to actually really recreate that sound even more by looking at the amplification system.
Yeah, and you've got the Bluetooth capability, so you can play tracks from your phone or computer through the speakers and play along, which is really handy if you've got to learn pieces of music and stuff like that, where you're not kind of having to move around back to a computer. It's all coming out the same place.
And I've been in rehearsals where you've had a phone and trying everyone gathering around to listen, so at least you've got the powerful speaker system there to actually recreate that as well for you.
Exactly, and USB on the front, which is really handy, where you can record pieces straight to that and then you send those files to other people.
And a little something, it's on the front, so you're not having to sort of scramble around the back to try and get to it.
It's those little things that mean such a lot, especially if you're using these things all the time. You often wonder why, the people that actually develop them, haven't thought about the most simplistic things of how big a pain it is to try and get around the back, because most people don't have the luxury of a big studio like this. It's in your house, it's up against a wall. So you've got to move it and you've got to get around the back. So that's a really handy feature.
So it's just showing how much Kawai really do think about these features and just the research and development that's gone into it. But we've also got the iPad in front of us as well, haven't we?
Yeah, well, you've got the app, the piano remote app, so you can flip through the piano sounds, change the sounds to different instruments, and again the virtual technician and go a bit deeper into the sort of technical side.
So obviously developing this technique is important. So even having these extra features like the let-off simulation, the counterweights and the keys, so it really does respond more to your touch as you're developing your technique.
Absolutely, yeah. The more you play it, the more you want to play it, and that's I know I've said that before, but the more you sit in front of a piano, the longer you want to play it, the better you're going to get.
Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today to talk about the pianos.
That's my pleasure.
So it's quite comforting to know that no matter which piano you go for, whether it's the entry ES110, the 520 or the flagship 920, that you can have a great piano to really focus on your technique and master your playing. So if you've liked our video, please click like, subscribe and comment below. Thanks for watching.